Welcome back to Gen TV. Today is a new development on what's going on in Afghanistan. With me is my friend and partner and our senior analyst, Mr. Gustavo Envela. Welcome back, my friend.
It's always a pleasure, Malik, to be with you and those who watch Gain TV and who I know are going to continue to support you both in viewership as well as contributions.
Perfect. Yeah, in order for us to keep this going, to have some good program, good folks like yourself, we need some support. But also, people have to tune in, to watch the program so that we can know exactly. The feedback is always important when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, how you been doing, man?
I've been doing well. This week has been a real challenging week on many fronts. However, I think with everything going on in the world, I'm glad to say that I've been vaccinated. My loved ones have been vaccinated. We're doing our best to make sure that we don't put any of our loved ones at risk and trying to abide by CDC guidelines as strictly as we possibly can. The whole school thing's a bit tricky. I have a daughter who's starting her senior year in college, and I'm concerned about her well-being, but she is vaccinated, and we'll wait and see what happens. It's a new world, brother. We just have to make sure that we are able to exist in it and coexist.
Absolutely. Listen, I know I'm no doctor, okay, but to be honest, I believe in the science, and vaccination. Vaccination is actually works. Okay, the vaccines, or you know, can save our lives. Protect us from getting serious cases of COVID-19. So we call on folks to do their part. People have to go over there and get vaccinated. And some people might not feel like they're sick right now, but it doesn't mean that you're exempt from the possibility. The possibility
Exactly.
of giving this stuff. And the problem right now is that some people, especially those who are not vaccinated right now, I think they are more likely to be a problem in society. And even the president called it the unvaccinated. I mean, what's the word that he used? He said this pandemic is the pandemic of unvaccinated.
Right.
So you understand that you know I do understand a little bit why people resist.
Mm-hmm.
Partially is it looks like the conspiracy theorists out there that keep pumping those false information online. What you think about why is half of America is not vaccinated right now?
Well, I think as a baseline, when you're dead, conspiracy theorists don't really mean much. And we don't want that to happen. We're trying to minimize it. But this thing seems to have regenerated and contorted and reconfigured to the point to where I think it's highly important for people to do the responsible thing for themselves and become vaccinated. Thank goodness for Jonas Salk and polio and what he did back then. I think vaccines, particularly the speed with which these were given authorization by the previous administration, which you should give credit. I think right now, anyone who says that they're on the fence or they're debating hasn't been around for the last year and a half when I guess close to 700,000 people have died here in the US. And I don't know what the calculation has been globally, but vaccines are helpful. I believe in science. I don't believe in alternate facts. And I think people who spread misinformation and disinformation to the detriment of society are nothing
Yeah.
more than menaces to society.
Some experts are talking about when they it's kind of scary when you hear the numbers. Some experts talk about half of the country. That's troublesome. I mean, if you know that half of the country, and if you when you listen to the CDC, they're talking about they're saying that those people, these Americans, allow the virus. Those who are not vaccinated allow the virus to be more transmissible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like a host. A host wants a virus is looking for something to feed off of, right? And so if you don't have that protection, it's going to go ahead and just sequester itself within you. If you
I
have
mean,
at least a buffer,
the, the,
right?
the the virus become a little bit more
Yes.
dangerous and complicated. And so we have to do everything we do or we can to just make sure. And especially you mentioned school and
Yeah.
resuming, and teachers, they're the frontliners. Teachers, the medical people, they're all the frontliners. So they should be leading by example.
Yeah. You know what
Because
I'm concerned about, Malik? I'm concerned that we have this new configuration that's taken place. We have, they're saying that it could almost be as more lethal than the first go around. The great thing is that we have scientists at CDC and around the world who have developed a vaccine that works. But I'm not sure how wise it is with all this uncertainty to then put a group of kids, some who've been vaccinated, others who haven't, and into a petri dish situation when we haven't even dealt with the winter months. And so I know the Zoom and the virtual learning is a bit cumbersome, but I think that life is preferable over the alternative. And I'm all about and will be all about preserving life whenever possible and doing the things you can to make yourself safe, social distancing, washing your hands, and making sure you're vaccinated. And those are some basic things that I don't think trample upon people's constitutional rights. I think I have a constitutional right to be safe from someone who doesn't want to take the vaccine, but wants to be, like they say, all up in my business. I don't want that. I want to be around for my kids, my grandkids, and I hope to be able to be around for the people of Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah, I mean, for those who are still not vaccinated, who are looking at this program right now, because the numbers, like I said before, when you look at in Alabama, 90% the people are hospitalized. These people are not vaccinated. If you go to Texas, 95% of the people hospitalized are also unvaccinated. So if those who are tuning in right now, as a matter of fact, there's Jan Carter that was talking about you asking for your WhatsApp number. You just put that, you see that message here. Uh,
I, we'll get that to you.
okay. All right. So we
You want
see
to do
you,
it on
man.
the
Jan.
air? We'll do it privately or do it on the air, however you want to do it.
Yeah. So send us a inbox message. That way, Mr. Vera will answer to you because his personal number
Yeah,
is a private number. It cannot be
it
just
is.
put the number out there.
Part of the
So
public.
yeah, we send it to your inbox,
Yeah.
Jan Carter. So I was talking about those numbers. When you see something like 90% hospitalized people or not vaccinated. I'm talking about Alabama. I'm also talking about Texas. So for those who are looking at this program right now, what can you tell them?
Hmm. Well, first of all, I hope that the governor of Texas has a speedy recovery. As you know, he's been diagnosed with COVID and is on, I believe, the same medication that President Trump is on. And so, and he, I believe, was someone who was not a supporter of masks. So I hope that the governor has a speedy recovery and that what he's been given in terms of treatment will be available to all the other Texans from the great state of Texas. For the unvaccinated, I think the numbers don't lie. There's a correlation. You're going to get sick. There's a higher degree of probability that you're going to become infected if you're not vaccinated. Therefore, if you don't want to go through the treacherous symptoms, and there are some people who are asymptomatic, if you want to avoid the treacherous symptoms, get vaccinated. That seems to
Well,
be,
that's
and all the other
that's
spin,
what
all the other people who are trying to monetize upon the pandemic, monetizing upon the misery and death, should be a saving themselves, including those people who are putting out fake vaccine cards. I think every person who does that should be arrested and at least do 10 years in prison. That's incredible.
yeah,
10
that's a little bit
Yeah,
exaggerated.
well, 10's a nice, on a scale of 1 to 10, you always got to go 10. And, we'll split it down the middle, 5. But I did hear, in all honesty, that there was a pharmacist.
10 years.
Yeah,
That's extreme.
wouldn't you agree, though, sometimes you have to send a message. And so the people who want to be in the front line of vaccine card fraud, well, let's put them on the front line of being able to head out to Rikers Island.
Yeah, I mean, this the vaccine politics, the vaccine conversation, it's really it's really complicated. Some
Yeah.
people just believe that if I have to put something in my body, I don't want the government to mind it.
Hmm.
I have to have the freedom to choose whatever. It's just like the kind of conversation we have with women,
Yeah.
abortion or whatever stuff is. If you have to inject something in your body, at least you have to know, whatever you put in your body. So I kind of understand, that portion. But again, vaccination, is they're safe.
They
Uh,
work. They work.
it works,
Just like
save lives.
the debate. Remember the debate years ago, decades ago about seatbelts? Seatbelts
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
You have a higher probability of surviving a head-on crash if you have a seatbelt. If you don't have a seatbelt on, there's a head-on crash. There's a chance that you'll go through the windshield, and God only knows what could happen. But I consider vaccines the seatbelt of this pandemic, and I choose to wear my
absolutely.
seatbelt across. And if they have double seatbelts, I'll wear them both. But I just want, and all kidding aside, I want Americans and the world to realize that we're going through another difficult time,
Yeah.
and and to straddle the fence as to putting your family at risk, you putting yourself at risk. I don't think it's worth the risk.
Wow. I mean, that analogy was fantastic. The seatbelt analogy.
Yeah.
And some people, just because you
Hmm. Yeah, I think you
just
froze up.
went.
Hmm. You look great frozen, Malik. I must admit, you look fabulous frozen.
Gustavo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Oh
hear you.
man, I don't know what's
You're
going
frozen. I
on.
thought we were playing the game red light, green light, and you were at the red light.
Interesting. Oh man,
but
yeah. I
no,
was I
kidding
was talking
aside,
about the analogy that you made with the
oh, the seatbelts.
seatbelt.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's a
You know,
choice. I mean, we all have choice, and people say, "Well, why did I get a fix-it ticket or a seatbelt ticket?" But this is a life ticket, right? I mean, this is. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else you need to say. Listen, I value my life. I'm going to do everything I can that's legal to preserve my life. Remember,
yeah,
this isn't a Hunger Games where people are trying to fight for vaccines, and there's plenty of vaccines, and there are other countries that would love to be in a position to have facility by going to your local pharmacist or your doctor or whatever, and that's not the case. We're here. We have these freedoms and these privileges, and I just hope that people don't ever take those for granted. In other parts of the world, people would die literally and spend days with the hopes of being able to get a vaccine with great ease, as we do here in the greatest country on earth.
yeah. But talking about taking all of this for granted, man. Let's talk about the booster. And I know you've heard of, you know, maybe in 20. Uh, I mean, next couple of months, but people probably already ready to get that booster because they say after maybe 8 months, the the second shot probably is not effective anymore. So here you see folks lining up to to trying to get a booster,
Mhm.
and then on the other side, you see a lot of people still don't believe that this stuff works. So I
The
mean,
tale of two
and
Americas, Malik. The tale of two Americas. We are living side by side in two different realities, some more alternative than the others. And once again, you're playing red light, green light.
oh gosh, I was
There,
just wondering. I was wondering,
yeah.
but at the same time, there's still country out there, just begging to have at least one shot.
Mhm.
Most American already have two for certain people that depend on the company. Um, but do you think we should go to use this third shot that they call the booster, or we have to also think about those people who don't they have not those poor countries that still don't have because one thing with this pandemic is that if we don't protect some of the people that don't have the means to protect themselves, the pandemic, you remember, it came from China.
Mhm.
People travel,
Yeah.
so it has to be an international, a global effort to trying to make everybody safe. What you think
And,
about it?
and to his credit, President Biden, who's had a bit of a challenging week this week, but with
Yeah,
regard to the, I think he's tried to be so inclusive. He has truly demonstrated the need for multilateralism. This isn't the time to be hoarding the vaccine. It's about making sure you take care of your country, and any surplus you can try to provide to those countries that are more vulnerable. Because remember, these people in other countries can eventually travel to the US or other places. So it's not about I have it and I'm going to hoard it. It's about I have it. We have enough to share, and let's go ahead and see what we can do to help protect the globe as best we possibly can, with our allies doing their part as well.
yeah. The last point you were making. So absolutely. So you think because when we start this conversation, the numbers they show that half of American, I mean, half American is unvaccinated.
Mm.
So do you think we should wait until everybody is vaccinated in America before we help other countries?
No,
And
I think
people are traveling. People still traveling.
yeah.
So does that make us in a safe position to just take care of our people here first? But that I understand that point though.
Yeah.
But if people don't want to come forward to get this vaccine, and on the other side, you see other people, other country begging to get
Mhm.
this to,
Yeah.
to get this vaccination. So
I think
what
it's also,
what you're telling me.
I guess in this case, you almost say it's a case of vaccine privilege. We're in a position where we could either have it or not. I would think it's better to take it at this point. I think the percentages will speak for themselves. I don't think there's going to be a rapid swing of people who don't want to take the vaccine, all of a sudden waking up with an aha moment. I think the figures have pretty much settled down. I'm hoping that people will be more proactive. I think the booster is just another level of protection. And I think that we can walk and chew gum and help as many people as possible without compromising the health and welfare of Americans first. But I think the American first doctrine, which was something proposed by the previous administration, is one that's harmful, that's isolationist, and dangerous in a multipolar world where we're so interdependent upon so many different factors.
Yeah. Remember on our last conversation, we also mentioned Haiti, and you know that usually Haiti comes to us when there is a catastrophe,
Yeah.
when there is something going on in that part of the world, and then after a while, because it's always those issues across the globe, around the world, we tend to forget that these people still suffering over there. They went through so much already.
Not to
You have
mention the assassination of the president, which was a shock to the system. But you're right. But the assassination of the president, earthquakes, the pandemic,
pandemic,
Haiti.
and they don't. And from what I heard, it seems that they don't even have a
Yep,
vaccine there.
that's what I was going to say. So I pray for the people of Haiti, of Port-au-Prince. I hope that our Heavenly Father will shield you in all ways, both natural and supernatural. And I want, on behalf of the people of Equatorial Guinea, we extend our heartfelt condolences, love, and support for the people of Haiti. And if I were in a position to do so, I would make sure that I could do whatever I could to make sure that vaccines landed safely in Port-au-Prince. And one day I will.
Well, I hope everybody, keep Haiti in their hearts and their prayers, because usually when we go through some craziness that going on like right now, in here in the United States, we see that one of the hot topic right now is how the president is going to successfully evacuate, American citizens. Americans and American allies from Afghanistan. So, and when we don't pay attention to what's going on around us, it seems that that part of the world continue to suffer, and the wounds of losing a president before that, you already know what happened before that. It's been
Yeah.
back to back to back to back. So we always have to be able to think about those who don't have the capacity to help themselves. So talking about Afghanistan, let's change gears now. Afghanistan. You heard the president, and I'm gonna play the clip to give you more ammunition to respond.
Mhm.
This is this is. I mean, this week have been very, very, very intense and very busy for the president. You see the criticism all over the place.
Mhm.
And last time you say, although there was a previous deal with President Trump, but he is the president right now, so he has to do whatever he can for to solve whatever come on his table. So let me play this clip real quick, and then we can continue to talk about um, uh, uh, what's going on right now
Great.
in the White House in relation with Afghanistan.
And other members of the National Security Leadership Team, the Situation Room, to discuss our ongoing efforts to evacuate American citizens, third country civilians, Afghan allies, and vulnerable Afghans. And I want to provide the American people with a brief update on the situation in Afghanistan. Since I spoke to you on Monday, we've made significant progress. We've secured the airport, enabling flights to resume. Not just military flights, but civilian charters from other countries, and the NGOs taking out civilians and vulnerable Afghanis. And now we have almost 6,000 troops on the ground, including the 82nd Airborne, providing runway security, the Army 10th Mountain Division standing guard around the airport, and the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit assisting the civilian departure. This is one of the largest, most difficult airlifts in history, and the only country in the world capable of projecting this much power on the far side of the world with this degree of precision is the United States of America. We've already evacuated more than 18,000 people since July and approximately 13,000 since our military airlift began on August the 14th. Thousands more have been evacuated on private charter flights facilitated by the U.S. government. These numbers include American citizens and permanent residents, as well as their families. It includes SIV applicants and their families, those Afghans who have worked alongside us, served alongside of us, gone into combat with us, and provided invaluable assistance to us, such as translators and interpreters.
Okay, so that's what it is all about. Um, the president reaffirming his commitment to bring everybody home, not just the American citizens, but those who help America to fight this war. So, do you really think our allies are losing faith in, or maybe losing faith in America leadership? Because
I
last
think,
time I asked you a problem with if this was a failure in intelligence, and you answered that question. So,
yeah,
but now that you see how this chaotic situation, do you think that our allies have lost faith in us?
I think our allies have lost faith in us, but it began prior in the previous administration because of the unusual 4 years that we went. I think that President Biden is trying to restore and regain some footing, but this unfortunate tragedy and dismantling of what's happening in Afghanistan, I think he's burned a lot of credibility, and I think many foreign leaders felt as if they were. A lot of them, I heard one really even briefed as to how quickly this was going to happen. And can you imagine after 20 years of lost American lives, blood and treasure, that it took less than 11 days for the Taliban to return to power? You also have to hold into account the fact that the Afghani military didn't really defend its themselves, and they've shed their uniforms. And the Afghan president, left and fled, abandoned post, and I'm wondering how much money he took with him. That being said, I think that this has a potential to be a devastating blow to the Biden presidency. And I'm hearing that some parents who are involved in the 9/11 scenario don't want President Biden to attend. I think that he was wanted to stick to a benchmark that he had set during the campaign, but benchmarks and projections, and as a candidate, when you're dealing with the hard reality of the Taliban who are relentless, the Taliban who wouldn't care if you stay there for 1 year or 1,000 years, they're going to make their reentry. I just think that President Biden, who I support with regard to his foreign policies, positions in general, I think he blew this one tremendously.
Well, but for Mr. Vela, we both agree that President Biden run on restoring American leadership, credibility, and respect. Uh, uh, should we just put the blame on him, understanding that he is the leader right now, the world leader right now? But after 20 years, like you said, of loss of our men and women, our treasure, trillions. So is this just a technical error, or the decision of pulling our men and women out of Afghanistan was the bad one? I just want to know if the decision was bad, or is the way this was done.
Well, I'm
That is
confident, and knowing how the decisions that the president arrives, how he's briefed by various agencies, various departments, where the State Department, Department of Defense, the Homeland Security, the Director of National Intelligence, the CIA, they all give their input. And in the end, it's President Biden, the one who took his oath on January 21st to protect and defend the United States of America. The responsibility lies with him. I'm not saying that he can be accounted for what happened 19, 18, 16 years ago, but we're in 2021. He took the proactive steps to want to have.
isn't it? No, my question here, Mr. Mvela, my question here is that
Yes.
most American, before things get so chaotic, most American was agreed to bring American back home.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
They-
But there's
we
also,
we
there's also some debate about the people who helped, the Afghan interpreters. People were being killed who helped, and the push the agenda of the Americans. Some people would say which came under false pretenses, but you have Afghani men and women who are being murdered because they're looked upon as being traitors because they helped the Americans, and in many ways are feeling abandoned, stranded. That in all of this chaos of fleeing the country, that they forgot those people who helped and who should be included as being an ally on this quote unquote war on terror or whatever was the case.
but when you hear the president talking, and I probably will put a second part of this speech, he reaffirmed his commitment to bring everybody home, including the interpreters, including our allies that help us to, fight in Afghanistan. So my question here is, um, should we put also some responsibility on the Afghans themselves?
Of course, you have to fight
Because
your own country, right? You have to fight and
seeing
defend.
how easily the power, I mean, just crumbled. The president flee. I heard that he made some speech from Dawa or maybe Saudi Arabia or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
But
United.
that was too
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
After all of this money pouring in Afghanistan, where happened to all this money that was giving him to
Corruption.
support him?
Let's just call it corruption. A lot of times they unfortunately the policy in the past has been to throw as much money at the problem, hoping that these leaders will do the right thing in terms of getting to the local villages and help with the local mayors, but it's just a one big grab bag, and people unfortunately in the end aren't getting the services, the health care, the electricity, the water that's deserving. And I'm sure that there are some parts of Afghanistan that probably haven't changed much since the Stone Age.
Yeah, talking about changing since the Stone Age, my heart goes to those the young women that
Mhm.
starting to learn go to school, and but now pretty much the school institution, especially for women and young girls, or closed because the Taliban, they don't allow women to go to school.
Yeah.
Even to go out, you have to have a male with you, or a male to a male figure to give you permission to go out. So now looks like they have a pretty good PR, telling the entire planet that there will be no revenge, no revenge. Make
Yeah.
us believe that everything's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that the argument that the Taliban will change overnight and become good with their own people,
No
especially the
revenge,
women?
no revenge as they've taken American MRAPs, tanks, they've taken American munitions, and they're saying, oh, believe us, we won't use these to camouflage and make it more difficult to figure out whether or not we're friend or foe. We're going to come in here singing kumbaya and wanting to have us throw up flower petals in peace offerings. Come on. We know this is the Taliban. We know it's what.
Gustav was having some difficulties in the area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So, but,
So,
but
so, so
with that,
basically, you were saying you
yes,
don't have faith in them.
I don't
You're
have
saying
faith.
basically,
I don't.
so, yeah. So, and one of the talk of the town right now is, and you can, if you turn on the radio, you can hear those interpreters giving the testimony, and telling the American people how scared they are, and how well informed the Taliban also are about
Mhm.
those interpreters, people who previously were working with American. They have all the information possible. So now they're playing, they're begging for American to do everything possible to bring them here, or maybe take them out of the Afghanistan. Do you think this mission will be successful, especially the humanitarian one? Because militarily, it looks like it's not something we can win.
Yeah. I hope so. I think there's such a human component. And when you hear the testimony of these Afghani interpreters, when you hear Afghan reporters at the Pentagon asking questions from the heart, how
Yeah,
can you, as a human being, not be moved by them? A man saying, I'm a soldier and I'm ready to fight and die,
die for
but I
just
don't want my child and my wife to have to suffer that. What have all this been for? If in the end they ended up dying, they were able to live for 20 years in a war that many people opposed, and now here they are back to square one. And what have any of the parties really gained in the end, other than a few people fleeing with millions of dollars, I'm sure, in their satchel cases?
but the president also mentioned the hair lifting. We have the American have that hair lifting capacity,
Yes.
that is the biggest in the world. I understand that. But in order for you to be a lift, you have to be at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my understanding is like, there's many checkpoints
Mm-hmm.
where, the Taliban have the entire control of those checkpoints. So you go over there, and it looks like, with your American passport, they can, they can let you get into the airport. But how come, the Taliban is the one actually making those decisions
Mm-hmm.
to let people go to the airport? And we know the interpreters, they are, actually they're really scared right now. They know the Taliban know what they've been doing, you know. So do you believe in the Taliban, goodwill, or if you will, I mean, do you think they will be capable of transcending the fact that they see these people as the enemy, but now they have to let them go to the United States? Is that possible?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's possible. I'm not sure the Afghani leadership. I know that there's probably been some dialogue between the Taliban leadership, as well as I heard from people at the White House trying to engage with folks, because you have to talk with all sorts of bad actors, right, in life, from dictators to terrorists. In this case, I think they're trying to negotiate. I think the Taliban have said that they will comply and allow Americans, but sometimes people do the whole bait and switch, and I'm not quite sure how this is turning out. But my sense is that it's going to be a more of a tragic ending than a positive beginning.
Right. All right. All right. But one thing that both of us agreed that the deal we made, from the previous administration
Yes.
and President Biden that we support dearly. We also believe that it was about time for him to bring the troops home,
Mhm.
because he's somebody. And when I was listening to the speech today, it looks like it was more about principle. It was not a politician that was talking.
Yeah.
It was about principle, and it seems to me that Biden don't want to pass. A lot of presidents wanted to bring the American,
Yeah.
starting with Obama, wanted to bring the American back home, but none of them were able to do it. They passed on to the next one. So that was a courageous, decision for him to make,
It wasn't, and he
and
said now that he was going to do that. He said he was not going to pass on the responsibility to the next president. So we have to
absolutely.
stand by the words, but we also have to stand by the outcomes of such a decision.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what I was coming from. Because now is the time where Americans have to, also support the president,
Yes.
because I don't personally, I don't see no better options, you know. And some people will say, you know what, there was no threat or whatever happened. He should have done the stuff, better. But also the intel. Do you think the White House have the correct intelligence that give them information about how strong was the Afghan, the Taliban? Because
Yeah.
the things happen so quick.
Yeah.
It shocked the entire world. How
Well,
can the powers
think about
crumble so quick?
intelligence, as you know, whether it's human intelligence or signals intelligence, some of it's actionable, but it's always fluid. And a case like Afghanistan, where the Taliban were always signaling that they were basically waiting for the day when the troop withdrawal was going to, they were keeping people off balance. And so I believe that the president was given the best information that they had at the time. I think that there were probably, I'm sure people on both sides who've probably said they should pull out. Others who said maybe we should hold back. I think that September 11th played a big role in President Biden, who I respect and admire his administration. I think that was a target date where he was trying to button it up. And I think, I'm not saying that the result would have been different 6 months down the road, but you have to wonder sometimes when there's this push to want to bring troops back, especially in a tinderbox area like Afghanistan. It's a tricky situation, but I pray that all actors involved and all stakeholders involved are able to bring this to a resolution. But I'm not optimistic that it's going to be anytime in the very near future.
Wow. So, when you look at what's going on right now, your perspective about is this going to be an easy this mission is going to be maybe a 2 weeks or 1 month mission, or this is going to take a long time? Your perspective on?
My perspective, it took us 20 years to get involved with this. I can't see us trying to do this and wrap this up in a matter of a few months. It just doesn't seem, without there being corners cut, shortcuts taken. This is a 20-year venture. How could anyone reasonably think within a few weeks or a few months that all the stuff that involved the planning, the logistics, the technical support, that all of a sudden it can be with a snap of a finger? So I trust the people who are experts. I trust the generals. I trust President Biden. I trust some of the Afghanis who are still trying to help, even in the midst of this. But I just hope that, I'm not sure if trust is enough to win the day at this particular moment in time. However, I remain optimistic, and I remain optimistic that the will of the people, the American people, will hopefully help our president during this very difficult time.
Yeah, I also believe it won't take just two weeks. This is going to be a long process. You can just get out from a situation, a 20-year situation crisis, to a 2 weeks or 1 month. And for those who are talking about mishandled situation. Miss Endo pull out. I believe it was about time to just start somewhere. I know it's chaotic right now,
Mhm.
but I also believe there won't be a military solution to this. It has
Yeah.
to be a diplomatic one, and
Yeah.
you know. But the only thing that worries me is although is the fact that you see it seems to me that on the side of Afghanistan it's not structured.
Mhm.
You have some kind of people who take decision, but the soldier, the boots on the ground, their soldier that or actually at those checkpoints,
Mhm.
these people don't. Most of them don't can even read.
Exactly.
They
That's
can't even
dangerous.
read,
Someone
and
who's
it's so
that
dangerous.
checkpoint with a gun who doesn't read in a tense war zone environment, that doesn't bode for positive outcomes in general.
So the chain of command, if the chain of command have one thing in mind, and the people, the soldier on the ground have another one, because they, why those people were saying that the so-called commander or the people who have power, super power, were talking about, I mean, the PR,
Mhm.
telling the American people and the rest of the world, the Western world, that we will pardon everybody, everything will be okay. But at the same time,
Mhm.
people were getting killed.
Yeah.
People were getting killed. So it's going to make it as so messy or complicated if the chain of command is not communicating with the people on the ground. And that's why I believe, because I believe that this might take a little bit longer than we thought
Well, if you look, if
before.
the hierarchy is giving sending out mixed signals, right, and there's no structure, it seems as if there's dissension, and we always know that when you make a decision at the top, it hopefully will then trickle downward. But the situation is so fluid and unraveling so quickly, even more rapidly than people thought. I think even the chain of command really is perplexed as to what is this next move going to be. Is it going to be on a chessboard or checkerboard?
Absolutely, absolutely. And although the president said they have made it clear, the president made it clear, if the American people or personnel or the military people are not safe, or if they try to do something stupid or silly, then the consequences will be uh, uh, there will be no forgiving. It's
And
going to be.
I take President Biden and his administration at their word when they're saying there would be consequences. I take them at their full word, and I encourage those who think about doing that realize that Joe Biden, when it comes to keeping his word, particularly protecting American troops, as you know, his late son Bo was a reservist. He takes it very seriously, and I would pity anyone who think that he would waver in not wanting to show American might on a global scale.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen, man, that was fantastic. We appreciate your analysis on the show. You're the senior now analyst for Gain Show, so please
Yes.
come back
Do I have
anytime.
enough gray hair, though, to be a senior analyst? But it's always a pleasure. I'm always here for you, and I'm here for anyone wanting to support Gain TV. You're a great resource. You're an alternative, and I look upon you truly as an alternative to CNN. We call it straight. We tell the truth as best we know, and we're not afraid to admit when we're wrong. But also, we also realize that, as they say, the truth shall set you free. We're not here to play games. We're here to try to thwart the disinformation campaign that's out there by hopefully providing people with information that they can use to their own benefit, whether it's vaccines or praying for the people of Afghanistan. And I want to thank you again, once again, Malik, for allowing me the opportunity to share my views and my views alone.
Absolutely. That was Mr. Gustavo Envela. Now don't forget, 4 times Olympian participant. My friend, your expertise is always welcome, and your sharpness is always on point. Thank you for your analysis.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to talk to you probably sometime this week.
I'm always here for you, my friend. You know that.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, so that concludes our show for today. Like For those who wanted to ask questions, especially personal information, you can inbox us. You can send the information inbox. We will definitely answer that as quick as possible. As far as I'm concerned, my name is Malik Linzonzo, and today was another episode of Talk to Me. I will see you next time.